Hello, today we will be reviewing the Avenged Sevenfold discography. So this band was one of my first metalcore bands. This band, Bull for My Valentine, I think were my first two metalcore bands. But I discovered Avenged Sevenfold through Rock Band 2 with their song Almost Easy, and the rest is history. So the self-titled album was my first Avenged Sevenfold album. But let's go ahead and get started. It all started with Sounding the Seventh Trumpet, which isn't one of their best. That there's no doubt about that. But there are some cool stuff on here, or there is, like The Art of Subconscious Illusion, which is my favorite song on the album. I do like Lips of Deceit, and I like Warmness of on the Soul is pretty cool. I don't listen to it a lot or anything, but I like it. And Streets is a pretty underrated song. But the production isn't the best. I mean, I've heard worse, obviously, but it's not the best. But the album does have its positives, but it's not one of their best. But I think it's a decent start to their career, though. Now we're moving on to Waking the Fallen, which is one of my personal favorite Avenged Sevenfold albums. I think it's maybe my second or first favorite, or number one favorite. Either this album or the self-titled is my favorite. But yeah, I do like Waking the Fallen. I love Unholy Confessions. Chapter 4 and Reminiscence, in my opinion, are pretty underrated songs. But there are many other underrated songs on the album too, such as Desecrate Through Reverence, which I really love that song. It's just, the riffs in that song are really hard hitting and just really awesome. I really love that song. And Internal Rest and Second Heartbeat are pretty cool too, and I do like the rest of the songs on the album, but there's a lot of cool stuff on this album, and there's some songs on this album that I feel are often overlooked, but Waking the Fallen is definitely one of my favorites. Now we're moving on to City of Evil, which was a big album for them, and easily one of their best. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, but it did commercially pretty well, and it does have many classics like Beast and the Harlot, and Burn It Down, and Seize the Day, and many other songs, but I really love Burn It Down. But Blinded by Chains, or Blinded in Chains, however you say it, that's one of my personal favorites, and I think it's a pretty underrated song. And I do like Sidewinder too. Sidewinder is pretty underrated also, but City of Evil is an excellent album. What more can I say? And then now we have the self-titled album, which did divide some fans when it came out because it was maybe their most mainstream sounding album, or the album that had the most clean vocals, or maybe whatever it is. But the album did divide fans when it came out, but I do like the album. It's one of my favorites. Maybe it's because it was my first Avenged Sevenfold album. Maybe that's why it's one of my favorites, but I don't know. I really enjoy it. You can tell with this album they tried to do some new things, especially with songs like Dear God and A Little Piece of Heaven. But I don't know. I really like the album. Almost Easy, Scream, Afterlife, which is one of my all-time favorite songs by these guys. Gunslinger is a pretty underrated song in my opinion. And yeah, I don't know. I really like the album. I know some fans don't like it, but I personally enjoy it. Next, we have the album Nightmare, which has one of my favorite drummers on it, Mike Portnoy. And oh, yeah, of course, rest in peace, The Rev. But I think Mike Portnoy did a really excellent job on this album. Nightmare is an excellent album. Of course, I do like the title track, and I really like Welcome to the Family, which I think is an underrated song. I do like Danger Line, and Natural Born Killer is a song that not a lot of people talk about that I also do enjoy. Buried Alive is one of my personal favorites on the album, but Nightmare is a pretty cool album, and I really enjoy it. And there's many songs on the album that still hold up for me. So next we have the album Hail to the King, which with this album you could tell they were trying to go for that Black Album vibe. If you don't know what I'm talking about the Black Album by Metallica. If you haven't heard the album, which I highly doubt. I mean, a lot of people have heard it. It's a pretty popular album, but if you haven't heard it, definitely check it out. But with this album, you can definitely tell they were trying to go for that Black Album vibe, you know. You can really hear it with the drums and some of the tempos in certain songs, but I do like the album. It's not one of my favorite albums by these guys, but I do like it. Some of my favorites on the album are Shepherd of Fire, the title track, Doing Time, This Means War, but I really like Requiem. Requiem is a pretty underrated song and definitely maybe top three for me on this album. I really like that song. But yeah, Hail to the King, not one of my favorites, but I do like it. Next, we have the album The Stage. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, the album does not really hold up for me. Now, there are a few songs that still hold up, but for the most part, the album has kind of lost its grip on me, if you know what I mean. I mean, there are songs like Sunny Disposition and Fermi Paradox that don't really click with me as much anymore. Not that they're bad songs, they're good songs, they just don't really do much for me nowadays. But some of my favorites on the album are probably Goddamn, Creating God, and Simulation, which is another song that not a lot of people talk about, but I do enjoy. And of course, I do like the title track. The title track has some pretty excellent guitar work, and yeah, definitely an excellent song. I've heard some people say that the song overstays its welcome, meaning that the song goes on for a little too long, but I personally am okay with the length of the song. I do like Paradigm. I mean, it kind of feels like filler, but I personally don't mind it. But yeah, the Stage, I don't listen to it as much anymore, but once in a while I do listen to a song here and there. But is it one of my favorites? Definitely not, but I do like the album overall. But yeah, and then of course they had that EP, Black Rain, which had some songs that they released previously, like few years ago or whatever, and of course they had that new song Mad Hatter. Now when Mad Hatter came out, it didn't do much for me, but it has actually grown on me kind of. I mean, I don't listen to this song a lot. It's not one of my all-time favorite songs by the band or anything, but I do like it now. It's definitely an interesting song. But yeah, that's my review of the Avenged Sevenfold discography. Let me know your thoughts on Avenged Sevenfold. Let me know some of your favorite albums, some of your least favorite albums, some of your least favorite songs, some of your favorite songs, and so on. All that good stuff. But thanks for watching. Please leave a comment and a like, subscribe. Have a nice day, and take care.